Everybody. Oh, we're running into this I'm gonna try and wipe it off. This blurry camera again. It is what it is. I've also been better this week. Well, let me open up the chat for everybody really quickly. How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome. Why is it fighting with me? How's everybody doing? It's been a minute. I'm so happy to be back. Let me just get everyone. Okay, chat is open. How's everybody doing tonight? Happy Thursday. Happy Friday Eve. Happy all the happies. Happy week before Thanksgiving. Have a week before a short week. Hello, Raj. How are you from Georgia? Are you what part of Georgia are you in? I don't know it super well, but I try. I'll give everybody a minute to hop on in here. It's been a minute, right? So we took a few weeks off. If you're new here, Alfreda, fabulous. Johns Creek. Okay, good. Hello, Melissa, Minneapolis. Welcome, welcome. It's been a minute. I was traveling a bit. If you didn't know, if you were here previously, I did say, hey, I'm going to be out for a second. If this is your first time, welcome. I do like to give a minute or two for people to jump on before we fully get started. I hope everybody is warm today. It is cool in Pennsylvania, and we are calling for some snow. It was said originally between 0 and 8 inches is how it started. My kids were very excited. Now we're looking at 0 to 3. We'll see what actually happens. You never really know, but I know I was speaking to one of the advisors from my host agency this morning. She was saying Michigan got some snow last night. I know Chicago got some snow. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Thanks for joining. I hope everybody's doing well. If you're new here, feel free to chat away. It's how I prefer to do this. For those of you, while we're waiting for a couple sign-ins to come on, so what time we got? 7:02. Yeah, we'll do this for a minute or two. If you are new here, my name is Laura DeVega. I am the Director of Agency Development at World Via Travel Network. But I do open this up to all my travel friends and any travel friends. This is a free open session. I have been in the industry for a minute. I've worked various different jobs. Hold on, answer 1 second, Aiden. I started as a travel agent myself, worked in that space for a while, on my own agency even at one point. Then worked for the wholesaler space, worked for GoGo Vacations for many years, worked on their business development team, worked in national accounts, and even towards the end of it, ran the business development team. And then I moved into this space. So I'm really all about making sure what I've seen and what I've learned as I've met people over the years and met advisors like yourself is that everyone's craving professional and personal development. And something I love to talk about is professional and personal development. I absorb that information constantly. It's something I eat, sleep, breathe. So I thought, what better way than to pass it along to all of you? I pass it along in my host agency as well, and I plan on spreading that out a bit more, but I love this opportunity. So I used to hear it so much, specifically with the host agency. I would go around and meet advisors and they wouldn't know what to do next. They wouldn't know strategy. They wouldn't know it was always like we were very good at teaching supplier classes, right? We learn about product and things like that. Now, I will say tonight's a topic you do hear a bit more of, which is marketing, but we haven't really gotten into marketing. We've done quite a few of these classes. This is kind of a broad stroke on marketing, and it's going to touch on a lot of things I've talked about in past classes. But nobody was a business strategy, financial strategy, goal setting. And that's what this space really is for. And they all kind of tie into each other. I was very cognizant of that, making sure you can take this information and take it to other places and build it within the other classes. If this is your, I'm forgetting my most important part. As I'm getting this, which is the Facebook group. As I'm getting this, I'm going to answer Aiden. He said, are you located in the Poconos? I used to live in Quakertown. I am right by the Poconos. And I am I'm in Dallas more specifically, but the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area, if you're not familiar with Dallas specifically, I'm closer to the Wilkes-Barre end, but I'm up in the mountains. So I'm very close to the Poconos, actually, like I said, about 45 minutes, but I wish I was in Utah where you are. I've been in Pennsylvania most of my life. I lived in New Orleans for a short period of time and I loved the heat. But then I came back to visit my family and met my husband and had kids and did that whole thing. So, to each their own. I guess that's where I ended up. But I do love it. chat. Hold, bear with me. This is not what I want. I'm trying to pull up the Facebook group. So if this is your first time here, or even if you're returning and you haven't done it yet, I have a Facebook group where all past recordings go into. So you might hear me reference things from last other classes. You might hear me talk about books I've referenced in other mentions. You can go back into all of these sessions. They are all posted except for I think one or two, but we're doing inventory of that this week in the Facebook group. You can ask questions in here. You suggest ideas in here. I just popped it into the chat. Go ahead. It will ask for, it'll tell you need approval. I'm the approver myself and my marketing girl, Drea, who is a force to be reckoned with. I love her dearly. She helps me out with everything in here. So you will really only see me and her posting in here other than all of you. But please make comments, watch the videos, go back and watch old ones. A lot of them connect really well. I try to start to move on by about 5 after, so I'm running a little behind, but I just wanted to say all that. I want to make sure you knew who I was if this is your first time, why I do this, because I think it's very important to always be thinking bigger, better, best. That's how you get to the best places in your life. And I want to give you the proper steps and the tools to be able to do that, right? So this week is a real broad stroke on marketing. If you found me via my host agency, you know, we do a full session on marketing. This is gonna be much broader than that, but if you found me externally in this, welcome. This is, I still think it's a great topic to talk about and make sure you're aware of as you're building your business. I think not nearly things that people as advisors do not think of nearly enough is one, really planning out their marketing strategy. That's what we're talking about today. They don't plan out their financial strategy super well. I've already taught a class on that, and we're going to teach an even more in-depth one coming up. And they don't like we look at what's right in front of us, right? We take these moments and we're like, oh, I think of the next 3 steps, but I don't think of the next 10. You just think of the next step. And I get it. We're in the weeds, right? We're like, what am I going to do today? How am I going to get through today? I felt that this week. I don't know if anybody else felt this way this week, but my calendar was full of meetings. And I know it's because it's a holiday next week, people are out, but I was like, my brain cannot handle this many meetings. They were going, but it's good. It's all, you know, there's these moments where we all have those moments and you don't know what's coming forward, but a good plan takes out I stumbled on my words there. A good plan takes out the decision fatigue of those moments. So if you already have a plan in place, you don't have to think about it. So like I said, this week we're going to talk about marketing strategy. So bear with me, I'm going to share my screen and pop this presentation up there. I will also, I like to share it where you see me side by side because I'm a very animated speaker. If this is your first time here, I'm sure you can tell that. And I like you to be able to see me as I'm talking. Does that make sense? All right. Let me now see. This is where it gets complicated. I like to also be able to see you guys talking. There we go. Sorry for the little musical note there, but let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, we're talking about the power of a well-defined marketing strategy. I think, like I said, it doesn't get talked about nearly enough. I feel like we, as an industry, we push a ton of things from the supplier end at all of you, like here, use this. But if you haven't sat down for a minute and went, what is my strategy? What's my direction with this? All of that marketing can just be lost in the shuffle, right? We all know how many emails we get. I get so many promotional emails between my personal and my business. And so many from suppliers, and there's so many great opportunities that you should be pushing to your clients and talking about your clients, but like, how do you know what makes sense? And especially if you're just starting, it can be so overwhelming. But even if you're established and you're trying to find a niche, or you're trying to move into a different niche, whatever it may be, it's just weaving through the mess of it all can be difficult. So I want to just talk about things to look at and things to remember as you're like planning this strategy out. If you have any questions along the way, please pop in the chat, interact with me. I love when people come in and kind of interrupt. It makes it so much more interesting for me. So feel free to pop those questions in, any question as we go through, but let's go ahead and get started. So first things first. Oh, does it want to click? There it is. I just kind of want to talk about what we're going to discuss with this. What I know my presentation is very Taylor Swift coded. It's unintentional but it's very pastel and cloud-like. But So I just wanted to talk about a brief overview we're going to go through. We're going to go through more than this, but I just wanted to give you an idea. So I want to talk about like the core components of what should be built into your marketing strategy, which is your vision. You do your market research, make sure you have objectives clearly defined. I want to talk about targeting your ideal clients. Who are they? You may already have a great book of business, but are you expanding? Are you switching? What does that look like? I'll talk about positioning yourself effectively. What sets you apart? So that's important when you're building that strategy and what you're going to put into your marketing plan. And of course, tracking success. This is something that gets lost in marketing. Some of the people that are very good about building a marketing, like a marketing calendar, then they don't go back and track how it's doing to know if it's working, if they need to change anything. So we're going to talk about all these things. So first and foremost, why does marketing matter? Right? That this should, it might be very simple and basic to many of you, but I think it's important to talk about, right? Don't mind me, I do have to keep sipping a little bit of tea. I have a bit of a scratchy throat, so to make sure I have a voice through the whole conversation. So it matters because one, you want to be attracting the right clients, right? It's not beneficial to you if you don't want to be selling Disney anymore and you're still only putting out Disney marketing. It's not beneficial to you if you want to be a river cruise expert, but you're only putting out Caribbean advertising. That makes sense, right? So you want to be putting out, attracting the right clients. It helps build trust. When people see you talking about different destinations and different locations and things like that, they believe you have the knowledge to assist them. Whether people want to admit it or not, they're going to do some research even before they call you, especially if they're using you for the first time. So they're going to say, oh, let me look on their Facebook page. Let me look on their website. And if you're not putting out information about the destination they're looking at, even though you might sell it, they don't know that. And they're going to, oh, she doesn't seem like she knows Ireland. He doesn't seem like he knows river cruising. So you have to paint the picture, right? You have to make sure you're putting out the correct information, intriguing the right type of clients to get them in there. So it builds trust with them to see that you're talking about it, that you know it, that you have knowledge about it. And you want to stand out in a competitive market. If every travel advisor in your locational area is putting out the same Royal Caribbean ad, what sets you apart? Why are people going to pick you over them? So is that taking a different approach to the Royal? If you still want to sell Royal, there's nothing wrong if you do. Or is it selling something different? Is it putting out something that's going to attract a different kind of client? Is it not selling the product? Is it more selling the story and the experience? So you're talking about like what they're going to be able to do with their family on board, where they're just putting up the plain old ad, right? These are things to think of when you're building your marketing. So making sure you have a consistent message is huge. Like I said, you don't want to be putting one thing and expecting to get a different result. So you want to make sure that you're telling the story of what you want to bring in, telling the story of your business, telling the story of what you're knowledgeable about. That's really important, and making sure it's clear. And they also want to make sure you're focusing your efforts on your high impact activities, like things that are going to bring in the most volume. And then you want to be turning prospects into loyal customers. So it's, again, building the trust, showing them what you have to offer. And then I also recommend bringing your old clients as they booked into your new marketing. We'll talk about that a bit later, to show like, one, like, look at them. So I loved your trip. This was fabulous. Let me post some of your pictures. Really brings them into the mix. And then they want to share that information with their friends and family and be like, oh, look, she's great. We did this and here was our photos. And it like broadens the network that it goes out to, right? So defining your goals. I'm a big proponent of goals, big, small, business focused, personal, whatever. I think a goal is the first step to everything. You have to have an end goal for something even as small. I shouldn't say small. A marketing plan is big, but just knowing what you're going to be putting out there. And I put this quote in there, but marketing is a bridge that connects your business goals to your target audience. So if your goal is to be $1 million agency, you need to make sure you're putting out product and marketing materials that relate to that product that are going to bring you the revenue to get to $1 million. So if you're only putting out Amtrak marketing, again, I'm making a random, this is not a dig on Amtrak, but we all know you're not making a ton of commission in that space. That's what you're going to draw in. So making sure you're putting things out for the river cruises, for Hawaii, for FIT destinations where you can build things into it. Make sure you're thinking that through and taking a minute to set the goals of what you want it to be. So if your goal is to be a top river cruise salesman, then your marketing better reflect that, right? So one, and I think just making that connection, making sure everything aligns. I'm a big proponent of making a big goal and then making the baby steps to get to that big goal is incredibly important. So taking, I highly recommend go back, watch my goal session, talk about how you can build them, talk about how to get those steps in. It would be much easier to kind of get to that space. Make sure you're clearly communicating your value when you're putting out your marketing and figuring out your goal. So if you're making a goal that's completely off base from what you're knowledgeable in, that's not going to be helpful to you. I'll talk about SMART goals later, but make sure it makes sense for you and for your business. I'm sorry if you can see my dog circling around back there. I may have to let her out of the room in a second. And building relationships. So again, make sure that the point of your goals with your marketing plan is to be building better relationships with your clients, building relationships with new clients, make sure that's always the focus, and make sure it's also driving engagement. The whole point of marketing is for people to click through, to look at your images, to go to your website, to call you, right? Or to message you. Engagement is what drives the clicks or what drives your sales, but getting people to see you, get in front of you is incredibly important. If it's not engaging, if there's not a call to action on your marketing, which is that literally that is like a button to click, is a email address to use, whatever it may be, any marketing without a call to action, it's just a pretty photo. It's not causing them to do anything. It's not causing them to be excited. It's something as simple as learn here on a link, learn more here, reach out to me here, call here. Email me here. It could be that simple. It can be much more drawn out than that and get more details about it, whatever makes the most sense for you and your business. But make sure you're driving engagement. Make sure you have a call to action on every single thing you're posting on your social, every single email you're sending out. Make sure there's a somewhat of a call to action in there. Okay. Now, understanding just the core components of marketing. Knowing your vision and like your mission and making sure it aligns with your marketing. Okay. I actually have thought about this the last few days. I think I'm going to do a whole session on like your vision statement and your mission statement and kind of like your tagline and building your brand. I think it's an important idea. There's a really fabulous woman who already has a lot of content on it. Her name is Kate DeLeo. I did a great course with her at a conference I was at a few months ago, but she has an excellent book as well. I highly recommend you look into it about building your brand and how important it is about what you're selling out there, but that's not what we're talking about today. But it is just important that all of it aligns, right? So making sure that whatever your strategy is reflects your business's purpose and value. And a great example is I have a very good friend who owns a business where everything, all the travel she sells, she gives a portion back to charity, and it's the charity of the choice of who's booking. If you don't talk about that in your messaging, your clients don't know you're doing that, right? So you have to make sure whatever your purpose and what you're aiming towards is in all your messaging. Make sure it's consistent. Make sure you're doing market research. So knowing industry trends, competitors, and client pain points is critical. Now, if you're niched into a market, this is a little bit more difficult, not impossible, a little bit more difficult, but as far as like keeping up with industry trends. But no, I apologize. After we'll let my dog just out the door. This is a real-time moment here. Come on, go ahead. Go ahead. Sincere apologies, everyone. Robin, I will post the book. Once I pull out of this, I can pull the name up in 1 second, but her name is Kate DeLeo. She's fabulous. And I want to I actually have something here and I'm just going to, so I don't forget. So industry trends is big no matter what, but as far as if you're in like a niche space, clearly you're not going to follow the industry trend of like how cruising right now is huge. If your niche is FITs in Europe, that doesn't really affect you too much, except unless you want to accommodate the clients that are shifting in that direction, right? But if you are still finding your niche or you sell a little bit of everything, if you're not leaning into what's popular right now, if you're not leaning into the trends of where people are going and what they're doing, you're missing the boat. very naturally, and I've said it for weeks on end now, cruise is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It shows on our sales when we see it. We look week to week. Cruises just cannot be stopped. So if you are in the market of selling Caribbean vacations or even European vacations, really cruising is everywhere now, and you're not interested in selling cruising, the question is why. If you have good, are you putting up marketing to be bringing in that cruise to you? Do people know you can sell cruise? Do people know you're interested in selling cruise? I'm just using cruise as an example. Also, just knowing the different competitors that are out there. I can't tell you how many advisors I know get in habits of they only sell the product they know. I know I was just as guilty of it. They have their adults only properties they love. They have their luxury properties they love, and they just sell, 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 sell. And I will use no names here, but I know a great example of everybody did that with a property for a very long time, a few years ago. And that property went, we don't want to work with travel agents anymore. And everyone just didn't know what to do with their hands. Like, what? How? I've only been marketing that property. I only send people that property. You have to be able to pivot in that moment. And if you're ahead of the game and you're paying attention to what's going on with your competitors and what's going on in the market, you can make those adjustments. So just keeping that in mind. And I'm a big believer that travel in general, like you're not necessarily competing. You are, but you're not necessarily competing with the travel agency down the street, right? There's enough of the pie for everybody, but it's knowing what they're putting out there and making sure that you have the advantage so that your clients that might come to you know exactly what you sell, what you're beneficial for, what you're going to be able to help them better than that other advisor for. Because it's, this is kind of like a thing where I like a certain, I like to, it's different. Like I like a certain coffee from one place and a different latte from another, right? That could be this for, travel, but also depending on, then that's especially if you've picked a niche, you might be the person for everybody's river cruises, but you have a girl down the street who's the girl for every time they're going to Disney, and then you don't have to worry about Disney and she doesn't have to worry about river cruises. I use those two examples a lot because they're relevant to everybody in a sense. But it's just knowing that with your competitors, knowing what they sell, getting to know them better, to knowing you can off sell to them if you need them. That's really big. And when you're looking at things, and then just for your marketing, making sure you're not marketing with their marketing. It's a really important point to make sure you're looking at. And then defining objectives. Again, this is where I just bring up goals again, making sure you have them, SMART goals. So if you're not familiar with what a SMART goal is, it stands for specific. I'm gonna use my other hand because I've broken it. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. We use SMART goals in our business regularly. Anytime I make a goal or have a conversation with my team, I talk about making sure the goal is SMART. And most specifically about the most important ones to me are specific, achievable. Actually, we're all good, but measurable, time bound. I think they go hand in hand. If you don't set a time on doing something, you'll never finish it. If you don't make it measurable, you'll never know when you've completed it. And if it's not specific enough, it's gonna be too broad and you're not gonna even know where to get started. So when you're looking at your goals, just make sure you're keeping that in the back of your mind to make sure that they make sense. Okay. Now, when you're making marketing, who are you making it for, right? You're not just making it for you. I like pretty pictures, but I'm not just posting them for myself, right? So I just love this picture of the who are they. I don't know. I found it when I was searching for images today and she cracks me up. She's looking at this like wiggly wave thing. I should have gotten the full image in there, but her face cracked me up, so I kept her in there. So who are your clients, right? Now, I'm not talking about your repeats. You know who they are. You're not having a problem getting your repeats coming back to you. Who are your new clients? If you are too busy for new clients, good for you. Please, there's nothing wrong with that. Make sure you keep them happy. Make sure they're telling their friends and family about you, but you should always be looking to grow personally. If that's not the space you're in, I get that. But scaling your business is incredibly important. If you're looking to bring on new ICs or new employees, making sure you're having the lead generation for them coming in is important. So what kind of clients are you bringing in for them if your books are booked up? What kind of clients, if you're not booked up, who are you trying to bring in? Are you trying to bring in honeymooners? Are you trying to bring in the new, like it's not that new term, but like dinks, dual income, no kids, right? Are you trying to bring in like older, like what are like boomers and Gen X, really, because that shift is happening now, right? Where like the Gen X is very much moving into the space where boomers is for travel. So like who are you marketing towards? And that's, are you just looking for Disney? Whatever makes the most sense for you. But I think a really healthy exercise to do for this is actually build client personas and build you could either do like a battle card in a sense, or really look at your different demographics. So whether that is families on a budget, whether that is luxury, like older travelers, whatever it may be, take a minute to look at who you're currently selling to, who you tend to draw in, and what the benefits of each of those are, and what they usually book. Because what that does for you, taking that a couple minutes to do that, or an hour to do that, is evaluates, one, your internal business. You're working on your business, or not in your business, for a few moments. And then knowing if you think you're bringing in luxury clientele, but when you actually look at your book of business and it's 80% families, you have to go, okay, do I want to keep it this way, or do I want to adjust? And that will direct your marketing. If you want to keep booking families, beautiful. Now you adjust your marketing campaign and your marketing strategy to be focused at families, focused at family resorts, family destinations, family cruises, whatever it may be. If you're mostly family, but you want to be booking luxury, you need to start adjusting your marketing to be luxury, to sort of pull you out of that family space. And there's still family luxury. Actually, I was just on a Regent cruise 2 weeks ago, and there were tons of families, not young kids, so there's tons of families, and that was as luxury as it gets. It was a beautiful experience. So know that it can be both, but making sure you take a minute to look at your business and understand what your business is currently is incredibly important, to know what you're, one, putting out there, and two, should be putting out there. I also recommend, again, we kind of talked about this, but looking at what we've already been putting out to see why you are 80% one thing and not the other, or why you're not what you thought you were. And when you see that moment and you think, oh, I thought I was more of another way, go back and see what you've been booking. Go back and look. So see, or I'm sorry, we'll see what you've been posting. Were you only posting what's available to you? Were you thinking that through? It's really important. Pain points and desires. Okay, what are your ideal clients' wants and needs? So if you are looking to book luxury clientele, you want to be talking about what they're interested in, talking about the extra amenities they're getting in certain locations, talking about the high class dining they're going to be getting in certain locations. You're not going to be talking about, especially trying to avoid families, you're not going to be talking about like the family services on board if that's not important to the client you're trying to bring in. The reverse coin of that, of course, if you're looking for family travelers, you don't want to be just talking about the adults only sections of something, because it's not going to be interesting to them. I know this is pretty basic, but just things to remember as you're building and what makes sense. Make sure you're looking at your clients and looking at the clients you want to bring in and thinking ahead of time. I'm always a big on preventative maintenance, knowing what it's going to be a pain point for them, and avoiding that with what you're putting out there is going to be helpful, and it's going to avoid those questions later. And then segmenting your audience. So you can very easily have it all and be a very widespread advisor. I was myself. I booked mostly Caribbean and Mexico and Hawaii, a little bit of Europe here and there, a lot of cruises. But I did mainly the fun and sun destinations. But where I had to segment what I was looking for was when I was speaking to my adult only audience, speaking to my cruise audience, speaking to my family audience, things of that nature. And then again, because I sold everything, I also had to shift for my Europe market when that made sense. I didn't do a ton of that, but I did do it. So making sure you're segmenting it, and segmenting it to the times when it makes sense. We talked about this a few weeks ago, but going back and looking at what your sales trends are, taking a minute to see if you are not niched into one section, when you tend to sell one thing more than another is important for when you're building your marketing calendar. You shouldn't be talking about Europe when it's not a popular time to be booking Europe. You shouldn't be talking about Caribbean when it's not a popular time to be booking Caribbean. So thinking about, okay, I know, January, February, people are looking to go to warm places. This is a great time to be talking about beach destinations, especially around holidays and when people are just sitting around chatting, want to be somewhere warmer, especially like here in Pennsylvania. Everyone's gonna be talking about the beach. next week at Thanksgiving for me about where they want to go on vacation next. We're already thinking about it in my family. So thinking those things are knowing that, the summer is popular in the European destinations and even into the fall. Okay, planning ahead of time. How far out when you were booking Europe last year did people start booking with you? And then a few weeks before that is when you want to start to plan for your marketing to go out to draw that same set of attention and keep that same momentum at the same time of year. I hope that makes sense. So just segmenting your audience and segmenting what you're putting out at different times. And there's also a way to do all of if you're a specific destination, if you're mostly FIT in Europe, there's a way to segment your audience even within that space, knowing for your family friendly destinations, knowing for when you're looking at for couples or, different kinds of travel demographics. If it's someone's more of like the exotic or the more roughing it type of person, you can look at different itineraries, make sure it's segmented to the right audience, sending it to the right people. It's also a really healthy thing to get in the habit of looking your client list. And if you have the capability within your CRM, I know not all do, but you can even make notes in all your clients' files and say, okay, they're cruise, they're FIT, they're exotic, they're luxury, and then being able to pull that file after so you can actually just see and making sure you're only sending to your current clientele exactly what makes sense for them. So even if they're not ready to book, you're sending them the right things that make sense. So you're not sending Disney trips to your luxury clients and things like that. I know it's very easy to just go send all, but it's a really healthy thing to kind of segment it out and make sure you're sending it to the right people. Okay. Positioning your services effectively. Like I said, I want to talk about, I think I'm going to do a whole thing on value prop in the future, because knowing your value proposition is incredibly important. When you're building what your business is, you've all probably spent a lot of time building the names of your business and building your logos and building your websites. But I'm a proponent, like I stated, my team, even with with our own host agency, you should have our tagline. We should know what our value proposition is, and you should know your 30-second elevator pitch, because God forbid you're ever in an elevator and you need to talk about what you sell and what you do. You need to have that information. And a good way to start with that is to start with a tagline that will kind of drift into your value proposition, which is like, and I'm going to make this up, right? So if I'll use my old, an old agency name. I'll just make one up. Let's call it the Travel Station. And we book all the, I can't make it up right now, but my tagline is, we book everything from California to Australia and back again, right? That's a text. That's a way to describe to people. I book everything. I'm not holding it in. Your value proposition should then be a little further statement of I want to be there to be able to book everything from your flight, your transfers, your hotel, and your excursions. So you don't have to think about anything from the minute you get on that plane to the minute you get home. Something like that. It tells the full story of what you're selling. And it's important when you're building your marketing that that's telling your story as well. So if your value proposition is I put together high-end itineraries for clients, from families to solo travelers to couples, you need to make sure that your marketing feels high-end, feels luxury, because you put it in your value proposition. If your value proposition is, I book fun family trips for multi-generation families of all sizes, right? You're a groups booker. That's important for them to know in that value proposition. And it makes sure you know when you're putting out your marketing that you're including conversations and imagery about groups travel, conversations and imagery about multi-generation, conversations and imagery about family. And then consistency is key. This is more difficult when you sell everything. I will not lie about this, but making sure your messaging and your imagery is consistent. Nothing drives me crazy. I evaluate advisors' marketing and what they put out pretty consistently. I like to go back and see what they have done and what they're going to put out, or what they've been putting out, and why the direction of their sales are kind of going the way they are. And the most consistent thing that comes up is that their messaging is inconsistent. So they'll be like, oh, well, I am the top seller of river cruises, but I'm also your best person for Disney. And I'm your best for, and maybe you are, but that leads clients to go, are they really the best at everything? You might be, But maybe what is important when you're getting into those spaces is you do a couple messages about one and then a couple about another. It's like the jumping around that confuses, I know myself, just visually looking at it and people coming in. Now, you want to change up what's in there. I'm not telling you to post the same thing over and over again, but making sure it makes sense. So maybe you have an FIT month, right? Or I'm going to go really niche here. Maybe you want to talk about like FITs that are related to books for a month. So you're going to talk about Lord of the Rings trips and where those go to. You're going to talk about Outlander. You're going to talk about Harry Potter. You're going to have a consistent message, right? As it makes sense as you go through. Or something I used to do all the time when I had my agency, we would love to do like Halloween and Christmas. So like Halloween, I would do like haunted places in the destinations we sold. I would do for Christmas, I would do Christmas markets in the destinations I sold. So the messaging was the same, but it was different locations, if that makes sense. So again, making sure you're consistent, make sure it makes sense, and making sure, sorry, I really tangented here, making sure it's consistent between the social channels you're using. I'm not telling you have to use every social channel. I'm not saying you need to be a master of all the things, because I'll tell you, I'm not a master of all the things. But if you are using Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, make sure whatever your trend is, it's the same on all of them, because it puts a consistent messages out. I used to have an employee that used to say to me, you need to say it to me 3 times and say it slowly. That's how I process it. And there's actually statistical proof that a client needs to see something 7 times to process it. So if you're not putting that messaging out in a manner where they're going to intake it in 7 different ways, or at the very least 3 different ways, they're just going to see scattered messaging. It's just never going to process in their brain the way you want them to. They're going to see something. Oh, I thought I heard something about this, or I'm not sure I heard something about that. But if they pop up their Facebook, oh, I saw that, oh, that looks gorgeous. I'd love to go to the Maldives. And then they see a little clip on TikTok. Goes, oh, look at this beautiful place in the Maldives. And then they're going to get an email that's like, oh, there's this Maldives property that's offering a great promotion right now. That's ticking the boxes, right? So it's making sure that's a consistent message. Okay. And I didn't realize I was popping right into this, but effective channels and tactics for reaching your audience, right? So this is a tough thing to decide how much and what makes sense for you, because I am not the person that's going to tell you you need to get on TikTok because everybody's on TikTok. If you don't know how to use it and you're not comfortable in it, that is going to do you no benefit. Digest one of these systems at a time, right? If you're comfortable on Facebook, master Facebook. The Meta system, the Meta Business Suite that is on Facebook and is free to use, and that will accomplish your Facebook and your Instagram posts, will allow you to schedule them out well in advance. It will schedule, you can put weeks of content in there with your imagery, your post, your hashtags, all the information there. It will post to multiple places. It will adjust it for the different social channels. It takes a ton of work out for you, and it is FREE. So if you just learn Facebook and Instagram for the very moment, good. That's all you need to do. And then, of course, email, things like that. But just don't think you have to take it all in because it's there. There's also a lot of other strategies. For example, there's offline, right? So I'm still a very huge proponent for marketing is still in-person marketing, guerrilla marketing, if you want to call it that. But if you have travel expos available to you and you can sign up for them, do them. If you have the opportunity and you sell to honeymooners, go to bridal expos. If you have local community events, I will tell you at my local community events, we had a fall event, we had a pumpkin something, we're going to have a Christmas tree lighting in a few weeks. There is always one girl who is a travel advisor that shows up with her booth, and I give her a ton of credit. She's always there, and she always has people asking, and she's very smart about it. She doesn't just promote the travel, she promotes a product she also sells, and she said, hey, if you need anything about travel, just let me know. I love that. Get out there, be in front of places. Be in front of people, and then partner with complementary businesses. This is incredibly important depending on what you sell. But if you are settling Italy and you are buy a Total Wine, I'm just saying, if you aren't using their space, they offer free wine tasting. You could bring in an Italy DMC that you can meet the rep for and combine those businesses wherever it makes sense. Or are you near If you sell honeymoons, are you near a hair salon or a bridal suite or a bridal dress studio? Can you get your business cards there? Can you get brochures there? Are you having the conversations with the businesses that make sense for your business? Right? Or are you just hosting a dinner? We've had great success within our own host agency with advisors just telling us they just started hosting destination nights. So they will pick whether it's Italy, they might pick France, they might pick Australia, they might pick New Zealand. They bring in brochures. They try to get a vendor. They don't always get a supplier. We know suppliers are busy. People can't travel as much post-pandemic, but try. Sometimes if you just reach out, they'll have things they can send you, even if they can't show up. Make a little 5-minute presentation, talk about where they can book, or if you have the ability and the funds to do so, if you have group space you can pull for these, this kind of event, bring people in, ask people to invite their friends. There's a lot that can still be done in open spaces like this that people thought was lost during the pandemic. It is not. We have a high traffic of a high, that's not the right word. We have a lot of success stories for this. And I can tell you I hear it daily from the members within my own host agency. I hear it daily from friends of mine that are just out in the industry. Make sure you're trying new different things. It's bringing people in. Digital marketing, like I just talked about. Again, social media platforms, figuring out one that works best for you. When you start to venture out, you're going to see a million different statistics about what the perfect one is. Again, like I said, do what you're comfortable with and use the free platforms that are easy first. Like I said, Meta Business Suite is very easy to manage, and that will accomplish Facebook and Instagram. TikTok, once you get the hang of it, isn't too bad, but even I do not pretend like I am an expert at it. I watch our like Gen Z intern and things, like she just flies through it. I'm not saying that's what you should be doing. I'm just saying get with what you're comfortable with. I do see a high success rate of a lot of advisors I know, and these aren't even ones that are with my hosts. They work for different hosts and have their own agencies that have been doing a lot of live content when they're on fam trips. And it's been bringing in a lot of attention. Now, I will say that it'll take some work, especially in the TikTok space, to get viewers in there. But then you go live and you're just showing properties, and people pop in and they ask questions, and they're getting bookings from it. So that takes little lift and little effort, and you're not cutting and editing videos, which I have no idea how to do. It's just promoting your business on the platform, and it's talking about different properties you're seeing, and it's not very difficult to do. It's things to think about. Email marketing, I'm a big believer in email marketing, and that's just, again, it's to kind of get in the rule of 7. So they're seeing your advertisement multiple times, also just making sure you're thinking about them. It's really important. And then SEO and content marketing and boosting your visibility online. SEO is really important. It's what you're putting on your website. It's your search engine optimization. So it's when people search in travel agency near me, are you pulling the right words to be pulled up in that website? Does your Facebook pull the right words to be pulled up during that search? That's a little bit, it takes more maneuvering and trying different things to make sure you're pulled up in the right search, but you want to make sure you're putting the right messaging out in your posts, because that will then begin to pull that. So think about that with hashtags and different things that you're posting. It really helps your SEO and will make you more visible to when people are searching on the internet. Paid advertising. This is another monster. I'm not saying, I will never on these classes tell you to spend your money. I know it's hard out there, but if you have the funds and you're willing to do it, there are some ways that you can get into different options. PPC stands for pay per click, and you can get display ads and social media advertising. There's different options for this. Facebook and like Meta advertising, they do these at a somewhat lower cost, so it's not too bad, but things to think about and options, and you don't have to have it on all the time. Again, I don't want to say you should and have to do this, but it is something to think about. I also know people that just pull out ads locally in their newspaper or their local, I'm losing the word. It's like a magazine that's around locally where they'll have like ads and coupons and things. Ours is called like the Clipper, and different things like they put in there. There's different places you can advertise: bowling alleys, restaurants. You can, so just think outside the box a bit with paid advertisement. I don't know what's an option. Sometimes you can register on the back of t-shirts for kids. Now that's not going to have a real ad on it, but again, just kind of thinking outside the box, how to market yourself and get yourself out there. Okay, we're almost done, guys. I know we're cutting along on time here. But building lasting relationships with clients. So I just want to talk about this a little bit. As you're building this experience with your marketing, make sure that you don't let losing space with your the relationships you have with your clients, and it can all kind of become full circle because your clients will become your marketers. If they loved their experience with you, if they loved the trip you booked for them, they're going to be your best marketer. I used to work for a company that only believed in four-wall marketing, which is that means they did not pay to advertise. They did not put advertisements out. They just relied on the reviews and the conversations of the clients that came in the door. So if you are delivering excellent customer experiences, if you are building a place where they feel comfortable and they want to book again, they're going to be your best marketer. How you can do that? Loyalty programs are huge. It's not very difficult to offer a small discount to your clients in the future or offer them like a little gift if they bring in a client and they book. There's like different kinds of referral programs you can start. You can also get some personalized offers. Like if you have a group space, you can say, hey, I can give you a big onboard credit if you fill this group space. And again, just like keeping little ideas to keep them engaged, and or say, hey, if you promote this for me and I get a booking off this, I will give you this much off your next trip. I will cover your private transfers. Again, you have to kind of work within your means and what makes sense. There's a lot you can do in that space. And then just community engagement with your clients, making sure, you know, do webinars like this. This is not part of my job, this, I mean, I should say it is kind of part of my job, but you know what I mean? Like I do this just to spread this information and try to help. So doing things like this, things you know about, if you know about a destination or a type of travel and you're putting out to your clients, they're going to show up, then they're going to bring their friends on. It will spread the word. And again, hosting events like we talked about earlier is really important for those kind of things. But it's just getting to know your clients, knowing them on a personal level, so they're going to be willing to refer you to their friends and family. Okay. Tracking your success. This is the last big thing I want to talk about before we're done, because I can give you all these broad ideas to get started, and then you can spend your time trying to craft your ideas and doing what makes sense. But if you're not tracking it, it does nothing for you. If you don't have KPIs to track, to know what you want to be getting from these numbers, it does nothing for you. So figuring out what your key performance indicators are. You want to measure the effectiveness of the marketing. How you can do that. You can see on, again, Meta Business Suite, you can see if they're opened, if they click through, how many people saw it. You can do some tracking within a lot of the email programs. You can see how many they're opened. You can different CRM systems, depending on which one you use, will give you the opportunity to see that. But also, even if you don't have those capabilities, and I'm not telling you to pay for anything, just see how many responses you get back. See how many comments you get. See how many likes you get, and watching the trend. Noticing if you're posting about Tahiti, are you getting a lot more interaction than if you're posting Milwaukee? Not a dig on Milwaukee, but I just want to throw a random destination out there. Are you going to get, are more people enjoying a live video compared to a static image? Are more people enjoying when you do a webinar compared to when you do just like a regular, again, static post? Just gauging the interest, seeing what makes sense for you and your clients, because your clients may not be interested in other things. Having a feedback loop, I think this is really important. Just one for your clients when they travel, and also when you are posting marketing. If you have clients that come in regularly, you book them all the time, ask them, say, hey, what'd you think of that ad? Do you like that? Did that catch your interest, or did you even see it? Because the algorithm does us all dirty sometimes. So make sure you're paying attention to, if they're seeing it, ask them if they're seeing it, and see what that was it caught their interest when they saw it. That will help you develop. And again, when you see which ones people are commenting on, you'll be like, oh, I need to post more of that, which is helpful. Be flexible. You're going to think you made the most beautiful, gorgeous video of a sunset in the Riviera Maya, and no one's going to care about it. No one's going to like it. No one probably not showed on nobody's feed, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean it wasn't a beautiful post. It doesn't mean you didn't put all your effort into the copy of the words that were in the thing. It just didn't catch the right market. Being willing to be flexible and try something else and try something different. And if that works, adjusting to more of that style is what's important. Don't get stuck in your ways. That will kill a marketing strategy. If you just try to do the same, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result. Or is that what it is? Trying to do the same thing over and over again and getting the same result. This is like you'll go nuts. So try different things, be open, be flexible. You have to be adaptable in this industry. Okay. We're at the end, guys. Next steps. 1, create if you haven't done it, or look at your current marketing strategy. Like I said, take a step back. What have you done so far? Personally, I do this for our own marketing for our company. I make a calendar. I just made our 2025 calendar. I have a theme for each month. I know exactly how many social posts we're doing. I know exactly how many emails I'm sending, and I know the themes for at least January. It took some time. I will not lie to you, but that little bit of time of working on your business, not in it, will save you a ton of effort in the future, and you'll know exactly what's coming up. Look at what worked last year or what didn't work and adjust. If it worked, put it back in a different way. If it didn't work, get rid of it. You don't need it. If you haven't done it yet, I get it. If you want to talk separately about how to help you create that, I'd be happy to do so. But take a minute, look at it, make sure it makes sense, or create something new. There's a ton of tools online. If you just search how to create a marketing plan for a travel agency, it's gonna pull up, I promise you. It's also, this is where I want to stop and put my flag in the ground for AI. If this is not where your headspace is, and I get it, not everybody's a marketer. Going on like a ChatGPT or something and just saying, hey, create me a 12-month plan focused on river cruising for multi-generational families with email, it will pull it together for you. Crazy, but I sat in an AI class. I talk about this almost every session, but it's important for you to know. It was a travel focused AI session. The gentleman had built the technology around it for travel advisors. He said, what holds up your day? We give him a laundry list of tasks. He popped it into AI and it was done in 5 minutes. And it changed my whole mind about AI. I was very against it until that moment. And I went, oh, think about it. It'll also it learns to adapt to you the more you use it. So if this is not your space, you can't think through this is a great opportunity to get into those spaces. The next thing, start small. What's a good place to get a class fit? Oh, Robin, hold on, hold that thought. I'll get that in the end. Start small. So choose one new tactic or channel each month. I don't know if you've ever heard of A/B testing. We do this with emails a lot with us, but it's also something you can just do on your own. It's not something you need to do through your CRM or anything like that, but it's trying 2 different alternatives. Sending half so maybe 1 month you send half your client list one ad, you send half your client list another ad, and see which one performs better. So then you know what works. Or this is even simpler than that, and just trying one new thing. If you don't do Instagram, let's just try Instagram next month. You don't do videos, just try one video. Just see how it works. See if anybody cares. See if anybody's interested. And that'll get your foot wet. Let's get started. And it's a great place to kind of break that ice. And then evaluate your client base and identify gaps in your targeting. Again, do that self-evaluation of looking at your whole list, doing what you think, like writing out what you think your breakdown is, and then seeing what it actually is and seeing how you can adjust accordingly, and if you need to be marketing to a different clientele or if you need to be bringing in more of what you already love. Like make sure it makes sense, because we work too hard not to be doing what we love. So don't just be booking things because that happens to be what's working for you. Book what you enjoy booking. I will stand my ground on that. And then I'm just going to pop up a thank you, and then I'm going to answer your question, Rob, in a second. But one, in case you need to jump off, because I don't like to go too late. I like to keep this under an hour because I know it's late night. Some of you have dinner or things like that, depending where you're at in the country. I just want to thank you for your patience and your attention. If you have any questions, now is the time. I'm going to stay on until 8 no matter what. I hope this all made sense and it kind of came together. Again, it was a broad stroke on marketing. I wasn't teaching you any proper skills here. I was really just getting into the ideas of taking a minute to look at what you're currently doing and what you could be doing, and then adjusting. I'll get into more about marketing a little bit later. I'm doing some different tactics on it, not too much. I do know, I'll look some up in a second, Robin. I know there are some places you can get some like little courses on marketing. And also I'll do a shameless plug for our own company. We do a Saturday morning session every Saturday morning. It's called Travel Marketeering. Joshua Harrell hosts it, and he gets more in detail about all different kinds of marketing. That's the shameless plug. I won't do it again. Oh, good. And but I'm a big proponent. HubSpot does excellent training. I don't know the cost associated with it because I hate posting things that have a cost related to it if I don't know, but that's where I've gotten marketing certifications myself, and I've been really loved all their content. They really think through it. Also, for as far as free education is this, I'm a big proponent to podcasts. People are just churning out incredible information on podcast spaces. And what I can do in the Facebook group is I can even pop up some different marketing style podcasts that I've enjoyed myself. Let me make a note of that so I don't forget. Podcasts and marketing. And that is a good way to find that information and get it for free, which is nice. You know what I mean? And I never want to see people pay if they don't have to. But as far as actual educations, like I said, I've done my certifications through through HubSpot. Specifically the ChatGPT, it's new to me. Oh, okay. So let's have a minute. If anyone has any questions, pop them in. But I'm going to tell you right now. Look at it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to tell you about the love affair I have with ChatGPT. I have to tell you because like I said, I was like, no, thank you. I am a creative. I don't need you. I will think of this on my own. And after that class, I started to dig around in ChatGPT, and man, what it saves me. Now, I want to be very clear. You should never just be going in and copying exactly what it has and putting it on paper like it's yours. Not for the million reasons that that's plagiarism and odd. And I guess it's not plagiarism, it's technically a Google search, but it's just like not your creative thought, but because it doesn't speak exactly like you and you want it to sound like you, right? But what it does is gives me such a great base. So for example, someone came to me today, we had a conversation, and she couldn't narrow down on what she wanted an educational topic to be for a course she was doing. And she said, okay, like I'm trying to get to this, but I can't break this into pieces. So I went to ChatGPT. I said, break this into a course outline with this topic focused on these three different things. And did we use what was in there? No, not entirely, but there were two things in it we were like, oh, that's good. And we used that and then we built what we needed. So does that make sense? Like it's using core pieces of it and taking components. And then as the more you input into ChatGPT, it learns about yourself and your business. So make sure you sign into it. And then it retains that information and then goes, okay, let me craft this to your business. It's fantastic. Now, again, I will never promote to spend money if you don't need to. There are also some excellent AI programs that are at a cost. Toby AI is the travel agent focused one. It's the one I took classes on. It's an incredible product, but I just don't want to tell anyone to spend money if they don't have to. But if you want to look into it, he actually built it. He is a travel advisor and he built it for travel advisors. It's pretty incredible because you can get it to speak in the supplier voice as well. It's wild what he's built. But again, that's an investment. So I always, tell people to take what I say in that sense in a grain of salt. I have seen how it works in a webinar, but how to fix your webs. Oh yeah, people are using it to fix their websites. They're using I know people that use, and I have not figured out how to do this yet because I painstakingly make these PowerPoints myself, but you can do ChatGPT to create PowerPoint presentations. I saw a webinar that came out last week where it was like learn how to use AI to create Excel, which the time that would save me because I am so old school with Excel. There's some really cool things you can do with it. It's definitely important to read what it wrote in a person. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is don't rely too heavily on it. It's a little robotic in its speak and it's not going to sound like you, but it has good ideas. Things like ChatGPT and a lot of the other AI systems, they're pulling from Google searches. They're pulling from spaces where you would Google anyways. And actually a statistic came out recently that more people are searching for answers to questions in spaces like ChatGPT. And I forget what the other popular one, let me look that up quick. There's a few popular like GBT, like AI systems that people are using, and it's more popular than regular Google searches right now, which is crazy to think. And it's kind of like for a long time, or I should say a long time, not that long time ago, they were saying that the new generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they will search for like, how do I do this in TikTok, not in Google, which is like, why? But it's like they want to see the visualization. And so it's kind of what this is becoming because this gives factual information. Oh, another great AI. Oh my God. And I use this one. I can't believe I missed this. lot of copy and a lot of text to your emails, or you write a newsletter for your business, Grammarly is fabulous. There is a cost to this one, I will say that, but it will also like fix all your text and rewrite it so a way that it makes sense. But then you can also be like, write this into a blog post for me, and it'll give you key pieces, and you can rewrite it. It's mind blowing what it can do. Another popular one is Claude AI. I have not messed around with that one. OpenAI, of course, which is ChatGPT. There's Google. They have their own tools. There's a few different ones. Like Google AI is what theirs is. There's a few different ones out there, but there's a lot. Could you tell the name of the travel agent-based AI one more time? Yes, it's Toby AI. Toby AI. And it's named Toby, fun fact, after his dog. It's a fabulous guy who creates it. And I also just want to pull in, yeah, I think if you go to, let me make sure. Oh, maybe it was hold on, don't go Toby, T-O-B-Y yet. I think it might be T-O-B-I. Might be T-O-B-I. I apologize. Toby, yeah. Why am I not pulling it? I know it's called Toby. Let me find it while I'm talking, because I took the class. I know it's Toby because it was his dog. Toby AI trap. Oh, you know why? Yeah. So it is Toby, Toby AI, but it's powered by a company called Voyager. So you may not pull it immediately. So Voyager Social AI owns that company. But it is Toby AI. So you can search it. Sorry, I thought I had it right the first time. So just know to look at it. Yeah. And then I also just want to pull up the name of Kate DeLeo's book. Robin, you had asked about that earlier. Give me 1 second. I will say, if you're looking to build your brand, and I'm going to kind of talk through some of the things I learned through her as well in a future course. It was fabulous what she went into. But she's a great, if you can watch her videos, she is great at speaking. I really enjoyed the way she spoke and talked with it. It's called Muting the Megaphone is her book, and it's about stop telling stories and start having conversations. She's a big promoter of that style of selling. But she gets into what she calls on her website is the brand trifecta, which is what I want to talk about a bit with everybody. I think it could be really helpful for building your business, but she has some great books, or she has a great book as well. And she's an excellent business person. Yeah, let me just see really quick. Okay. Doing what to the megaphone? Sorry if I mumbled there, Robin. Muting the megaphone. Muting. There was something else somebody mentioned. Any other questions? And then I will tell you, like I said, if anyone's interested, we do, like a shameless plug, Travel Marketeering is Saturdays with Joshua Harrell. He is our Chief Revenue Officer, and he does that. And you can find that through the World Via Travel Network page, also a shameless plug. But know that anyone can come to this, so it's not only for our host, but we do offer that as well. Questions from anyone? Any other questions? We're after 8 o'clock. So if you have to jump off, please understand, go. If you want to watch more sessions, again, join the Facebook group. We won't be here next week because it's Thanksgiving, right? But we have many more classes after that. After Thanksgiving, we are going to go for, let's look at the calendar here. We're going to go for a few weeks, right? Because the holidays. We are going to go, so it'll be the 5th, the 12th, the 19th. There won't be the 26th because I'm taking the week between Christmas and New Year's off, but I will be back January 2nd as well. So we're in it for a minute. There's a lot coming up. Oh, good, Raj. I hope it was helpful. I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you don't like it, I want to hear it too. So give me the feedback. This is how I get better. But know that we have a lot of fun things coming up. Some of the episodes, we have a couple episodes left, but we're actually going to do some fun things in January. We're going to start to bring on some travel advisor friends I have as well to do some interactive conversations and see what we can help with. I have a member of my network who actually works in financial planning, and we're going to talk succession planning because it's really important to get ahead of that. We also have some members that would just want to talk more about financial things. There's a lot of really cool things coming up. Some things I know I have on the docket still is embracing delegation and letting go of control. This is more if you have employees. strategies for quiet achievers for effortless marketing. So that's, or effortless networking. So this is a fun thing. I'm also going to get into supplier relationships because that's really, really important to me and building them appropriately. So how you grow your business, and then also how to maximize your partnerships to make sure you're getting co-op and all the good things to build your business. Great, like the 15 and 15 by Jose. Oh, I don't even know that. Yes, but we're just going to keep going. Like I want to keep going. And if any of you have ideas for upcoming classes, like you've thought of things that you have questions for and you don't, and you haven't had the space to ask, pop them in here, pop them in the Facebook group, because that's how we're going to build the next couple classes coming up. When we first started this many weeks ago, I built 16 sessions. We only have 4 of those 16 left, so we're narrowing down. And then so we're going to build 16 more to team us up for the next few months. So if you have an idea or something you want answered or something you want to talk through, things that have come up in the past, we're going to talk through time management. I know that's come up with a lot of people. We're going to talk through training employees. We've talked through it a little bit already. I had a session about that a few weeks ago, but people wanted to get a little bit more deep dive into that, like employees and ICs, how you handle that. We're going to talk again about scaling and growth because it's something that's come up even after I already talked about it and people have questions about it. Anything you can think of, let me know. That's what we're here for. And if not, enjoy your evening. You don't have to keep listening to me talk. I just talk at myself on the screen all night long. For those of you still here, I will say, when I first came on, I wanted to make a joke about it. My team makes fun of me because when I first come on, I never know if the recording starts or not. So I start like this. And they're like, they make fun of me of the face I make when I first come on. I'm like, oh, I just want to look proper. So I told them I'm going to make Christmas ornaments of those faces. But now you're getting the after face too, because when I get off at the end, I'll do it as I'm closing off too. Because all these do end up on YouTube as well. So if you search Elevate Your Agency, it's on there too. And I just want to make sure I have the proper face in those. So. But if you are done here, enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope I see you again. I hope this isn't your last time. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell anybody who's interested in travel. That's what we're here for. Keep an eye out for what the next session will be. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend if you celebrate, or just day off if you celebrate or don't. Ooh, good for you, Robin. Very exciting. Very exciting. If you have any questions or need anything, Robin, email me. I'm happy to help in any way you need, want. You're in a very exciting space right now. So, but enjoy your time. If not, I'm going to jump off now, guys, because we're a little over, and I'm actually going to go eat my dinner with my kids. But keep an eye out for I keep saying next week, the week after session. Thanks, Nellie. Thanks for joining. And yeah, enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend. If you're going to see Wicked, enjoy. That's what I'm doing this weekend. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Oh, good, Aiden. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everybody.